Big cat, how you came to be is no longer a mystery. Black sheep is your birthright. It's code for the one who brings the light. I bet if there's a crack, you don't fall back. Remember who you are. No rest for the wicked with their skullduggery. The use spell workers' projection to send out envy, hate, and jealousy. You are the prototype, your ancestors champion. They shield you and send back those spiritual attacks. You are divinely protected from the dummy bats. Yeah. Big cat, the most high, got your back. He sits high and looks low, so don't get smoked or smoke yourself. Big cat, move in silence. Only time you speak is to say checkmate.
Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or messages. Come in! Come on! I've got intel. Recon is afoot. May your comings and goings be forever covered by the grace of the Most High. When in doubt, go within. Namaste, bestie. Are you fabulous, gorgeous, and lovely? Let's dive right in. Because I've got a reading in mind today, darling. Sorry, the battery ran out. The reading I'm going to do today is going to be Guarded Secrets, the silent path to power and healing, darling dears. And before we dive into the read, we're going to go with the dice first of all, so we know what weapons you have in your artillery, darling dears. Let's dive right in. Turn down the music. Jumped right out, darling dears. Good golly and the gosh. You have the energy of a 10, darling dears. So you're coming to completion, darling dears. The energy of the 10 speaks about things coming to a culmination. This is an ending of a cycle. Yes, karma is attached, darling dears, for those that choose to what? Mess with a big cat, darling dears. The energy of the 10 is about endings, definite endings, okay? According to the Loshu grid, I use the Pythagorean theorem from 1 to 9. So the 10 goes down to a 1, darling dears. Don't worry, we've got a lot of things to talk about before we unpack the cards, darling dears. So the energy of the 10 goes down to a 1. So you could be a life path 1, darling dears. It tells me because the 1 is sun energy, so you're in a leadership position. It's cardinal fire energy and it's representative of the magician. Okay, your lucky numbers or the numbers encompassing the 1 is 10, 19, and 28. The energy of the sun, because it's fire element, is about your vitality, your ego, your willpower, darling dears. So you are definitely going into this situation armed and dangerous. It's masculine energy. The body parts it rules is your heart, your spine, and your thalamus. It speaks about your integrity, darling dears, your individuality, as well as your stamina. You are up for it, darling dears, because the energy of the magician, it inspires you. It's telling you that you have all of the tools to create your destiny. Yes, baby. So lead with confidence, darling dears, with confidence. The energy of the 1 is also associated with father figure energy. You could be a father, or you could be the father in your life, darling dears, whether it's a grandfather, your father, okay? The cardinal energy is telling you that you have to harness this energy, darling dears. Harness it and be bold with your projects and whatever you are inspiring others to do, or even the motivation and the inspiration of self, darling dears. Okay? All right. Let's press on. Let's press on. Your luckiest days will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's ruled by the astrological aspect of a conjunction. And we love a conjunction. Why? It rules new beginnings for you, darling dears. As I said, things have come to a culmination. It's most definitely about your self-expression, darling dears. As I said, you'll be stepping into some kind of leadership role. You are an innovator, darling dears. It's about you taking a new approach, because listen, that is madness itself, darling dears. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting change. That's oi. Hey, woo, child. Okay, let's get back to the dice. You have the energy of the 10. The energy of the 6 is a reminder about your health. Be careful of your health. The energy of the 6 is also Virgo energy, darling dears. The 6th house. The 6th house is about your body, your mind, your mental health, the kinds of jobs you do on a daily basis, your routines and rituals, things that make you. But if you have a doctor's appointment, don't miss that appointment, darling dears. Take care of your health, because your health is your wealth. You also have the energy of the 4, 2 different dice, darling dears. The 4th house, so it's about your emotional wellness, darling dears. Your emotional security. It's about your childhood home as well as your current home at this moment in time, darling dears. So, okay. The energy of the 10 itself is the 10th house. This is about your status, because the 10 is the medium coli. It's the height of your chart, darling dears. So it's the middle of the heavens, the medium coli. Okay, so it's about your status, your reputation. It's about your financial success. And again, it brings in the father element, darling dears. Maybe you are in your masculine energy. Nothing wrong with that, darling dears, being your own provider as well as your own protector. Listen. All right. The energy of the 1 is Mars and Aries energy, darling dears. It's cardinal fire. Again, it's speaking about your early environment. That is also covered by the energy of the 4, the 4th house, darling dears. All right. Let's break this down. The energy of the 4, darling dears, speaks about a lot of communication. So you're going to have a lot of communications incoming and outgoing, whether telephone, snail mail, email, even visits, darling dears. The energy of the 4, you have it twice. It speaks about someone or something coming into your life, which is going to have a profound effect on your life, as well as a love affair. Somebody's going to be stepping into a love affair, darling dears. Listen, you better pay attention. The 5th house, because it could be drama attached to it. Make sure it's not in Mercury retrograde, okay? All right, because we are still in cuffing season. No one wants to be cuffed with what? The bottom of the pot. All right. Okay, we have the energy of the 1, darling dear, showing. The 1 is about you having to make a major decision in the not too distant future under the energy of the new moon. The next new moon, I believe, will be in Aquarius on the 29th of January, darling dears. But my readings are timeless, so look out for the new moon where you are, darling dears, what time it's going to be, because you have a major decision to make. But divine is telling you to wait until after the next new moon. Why? Why do you have to wait? Because things will be unfolding for you, darling dears. So with the energy of the 10, Saturn energy, as well as the energy of the 1, the Sun energy, again, this is about taking decisive action, darling dears. Making correct decisions at this moment in time. Any limitations that was previously on you are being lifted. Okay. Your lucky numbers. Energy of the 1 is, oh, come on, case. Think 1, 2, and 5. And the energy of Capricorn, Saturn energy, the 10th house, is 2, 4, and 8. Okay. All right. Let's press on. Let's press on. Let's see what's hidden that you're not seeing. We've got a 7. We've got a 2 and a 5, darling dears. Anytime we see a 2 and a 5, hey, somebody's going down Bobby Brown in the public. We are all going to see it. The energy of the 7 on the inside is also reminding you of your genius mode, right? Take the time to go within. All answers come from within, darling dears. But someone in a public manner is going down in the not too distant future over the next 7 days, darling dears. Hit me up in the comments with whom it is. It's going to be someone in the public sphere, which we will all know about and see. Mocha sipped, because we ain't getting smoked. All right. Let's press on. Side of the dice, we've got a 2 and a 5 on the side. Someone is most definitely going down, darling dears. Because we've got the double energy, it could be someone that's gone down already and someone pertaining to that situation is about to go down. They've got no way of coming back. Remember, I told you that. All right, let's press on. We're going to go with outside energies before we get into the... We're going to go with the black cards. Outside energies of the big cat. Yeah, somebody wants to be a time-traveling ear hustler. Coming with what? The whisperings of Hannibal Lecter. Someone who you've definitely had to detox yourself from. Good golly and the gosh, darling dears. All right. Okay, and it's the energy of the 7th house, darling dears. The 7th house is your one-to-one relationships. It speaks about open enemies. It speaks about exes, whether an ex-friend, family member, husband or wife, whatever, darling dears. Someone who's an ex, who quickly turned into a Y, and judgment is at their back, darling dears. Good golly and the gosh, right? Whenever we see judgment coming up, darling dears, in the diseases that are associated with the judgment is chronic diseases, okay? Chronic diseases that they'll be suffering from, darling dears, because of past issues that they have not closed, darling dears. And when we see the judgment, it's somebody that would like one more round, Julie, with your hairline. Someone or someone's that would love to come back into your situation. Judgment is also the death and rebirth and rise of you, darling dears. Pluto energy. This is about your soul desire as you move forward, darling dears. This person is going to come or approach you with some kind of coercive energy. Don't allow it to take you off your path or transform what you've got picked out for yourself. This person has committed many crimes. Whether they've been caught for it, they've definitely been caught for it, because this court on Malkuth is not the only one. The highest court is the court of Keitha, darling dears, where it's all kicking off. The energy of Pluto also reminds us that there are secrets on the table, darling dears. We already know that you are guarding your own secrets. There's certain things that you will not be revealing. You found a way to detox yourself. Best way to get off those dark secrets that are lingering, darling dears, is to write them down on a piece of paper. Go into detail if you want, and burn them. If it's not on your solar return, it must be at the energy of the new moon, darling dears. When it's your solar return, it's 3 days before and 3 days after, and the new moon is 12 times a year, darling dears. Burn that energy, release that energy to the Most High and your ancestral team. Love it. You are in genius mode, but this heifer or heifers would love to return. Let's get your oracle ancestral message. Give it a good shufti. Thank you. Good golly and gosh, you are the gardener, darling dears. You stand between these two trees for Boaz and Jashim, for completion and new beginning. As I said, things have come to a culmination, and it's about putting yourself in the driving seat. Remember, I told you that. The seeds you sowed today, darling dears, is the accomplishments, the blessings that you will be reaping from tomorrow. Remember, I told you that. Some of you may even be gardeners, darling dears. And look at this. There's a new beginning in love, darling dears, because this is a fated meeting. All right. The butterflies are about transformation. I love it. I don't hate it. Because butterfly, yeah, it's transformation, but as well as freedom. You're a free spirit, darling dears. And you have what? Serendipity on your side. Yes. Good golly and the gosh. Blessings, darling dears. Some of you will be traveling over water. Remember, I told you that. Sun energy in the background. Again, putting yourself first. Putting yourself into this new beginning. It speaks about your courage. It tells me that you've been standing up for yourself, darling dears. And the energy of the sun, first house energy, also speaks about close family relationships, darling dears. It speaks about a lot of competition is coming your way. Maybe they feel threatened by what you're achieving. One-to-one relationships can also represent you going towards a marriage, signing new contracts. Could be business, darling dears. Could be abroad. Remember I told you that the 7th house, the one-to-one relationships, is Venus and Libra energy, darling dears. Somebody's also into foreign trading. But you could, when we see this confirmation by the bell, whenever we hear the ringing, darling dears, I was about to say, enemy has passed, energy of the 7th house. Yeah, as I was saying, the death of an enemy, darling dears. Good golly and gosh. And we've already had the judgment with the chronic illnesses. Listen, hey, bestie, we have a white stag on this picture, and you know how rare these are, darling dears. You are most definitely being guided and protected by your ancestral team at this moment in time as you plant the seeds of your future going forward. Yeah, and chivalry ain't dead. I told you, somebody is definitely a fated meeting, darling dears. Could be a love meeting, could be a friendship coming into your life. 7th house, all of your one-to-one relationships. As I sip my mocha, because I ain't getting smoked. Right, let's press on. Let's press on. Let's get a deck I haven't used in a while. Let's give it a good shufty. We're going to select 4 cards. The first card will be your veil of protection. The second card is going to be the hidden door. Okay. Okay, the third card will be the shadows in the room, darling dears. And the final card, let me think. The golden reward. The golden reward. So we have 4 cards. Base of your deck, darling, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of competition. People putting you in positions where you're always having to defend yourself, or yeah, basically giving it to you without the Vaseline, darling dears. It's not fabulous, gorgeous, or lovely, darling dears. Lots of conflict, lots of confusion, lots of tension, darling dears. If it was a relationship, your partner was always fighting to dominate you within this situation. If it was a friendship, that was never your friend, darling dears. They had a better friend and it wasn't you. Okay, let's move these up, out the way. We'll start. Are you paying attention? Lean in, bestie. Lean in. Let's get to the good stuff. First card, the Veil of Protection. Good golly and gosh. You've got the Ace of Cups in the upright, darling dears. I said the Ace of Cups, but it's not. It's the 4 of Cups, darling dears. I said the Ace. Reason it Freudian slip, it's meant to come out. It's speaking about, because the Ace of Cups is about the new opportunities that are being granted onto you at this moment in time. Because the Ace of Cups itself, it speaks about new opportunities. For some, this is a new lover coming into your life, darling dears. It speaks about happiness, fertility, whether you are pregnant at this moment in time, about to get pregnant, or for fertility within your relationship, darling dears. Room for growth. I love it. I don't hate it. The Ace of Cups is about your abundance. The 4 of Cups, darling dears. Your veil of protection. Lean in, bestie. Lean in. You've realized what to hold yourself back from, darling dears. Anything that was floating above you, these cups, this cup in particular, it's an illusion, darling dears. This also speaks about your words, because cups also speaks about your words, darling dears. You've been tempering your words and your emotions pertaining to a situation. Let's get another deck to go a little deeper. The veil of protection. Tell me something more about this veil of protection. Yeah, told you. You had to hold yourself back from a situation. It was a head over heart decision. Two of Swords, Queen of Cups, highly intuitive, darling dears. You could be a mother or father, because you know gender is fluid. In tarot, the Queen of Cups is someone who is extremely loyal to a situation that did not deserve you. This is where the protection came in, darling dears, because you was given a choice. Good golly and the gosh. Look at the cards, darling dears. Lean in, bestie. Lean in. We've got a waxing. Is it what? Yeah, no, sorry. A wanning giving us moon in the background, darling dears. Okay? Because when we see a wanning moon, it's about you you took the time to reflect, darling dears. Right? And in that reflection, you had to what? Be grateful for the situation, because it's what woke you up. Can you see the card? Yeah, because it's what woke you up, darling dears, to whom you truly are. Utilizing your intuition and your discernment in the situation. This is about leaving a situation. It wasn't easy, but you were being protected in leaving that situation. And split the deck. King of Cups. This is a fated meeting. I can't make this up, darling dears. Within this veil of protection, you are going to be meeting a fated partner, whether it's going to be love or friendship, loyalty, all of the above, darling dears. This is what's coming towards you. You don't see it cupping, because you've got the lid on your actual cup, darling dears. The cup is telling me that, yeah, your cup runneth over, darling dears, but you are not just being willy-nilly with your feelings. Okay? Yeah, this is a situation that is definitely coming towards you. Page of Wands is a messenger. I love it. I don't hate it. This is going to be an unexpected meeting, darling dears. Okay? Alright. One which is going to create a lot of deep thought within you, darling dears. But it's definitely good news coming towards you, because you are embracing this veil of protection that you've been given. Okay? Let's ask it another question. The veil of protection. What exactly are you safeguarding when you've chosen this silence to hold you back from these circumstances and situations? What exactly are you safeguarding? Thank you. Good golly and gosh. You're safeguarding the choices you make in life, darling dears, realizing that the choices are your own to make, not someone else's. Emotional, lots of tears shed in that situation. Magician with your badass alchemist ways. When we see the magician, darling dears, he speaks about movement. 100%. It also speaks about a neighbor and younger siblings. Okay? The younger siblings, there was some kind of adversity within that situation, darling dears. But you have been gifted with all of the tools. As I said, the veil of protection, the master manifester, the magician, darling dears, the baddest of them all. Okay. Yeah. With the Seven of Cups, you're allowing yourself to understand that all these dreams that you have for yourself, darling dears, you was in a situation where there was a lot of deception. Okay. You've been making the right choices going forward so far, darling dears. But this is about you continuing to be committed to this new beginning, darling dears. Because you're about to cry your last tear. Because 7 and the 4, darling dears. 7 and 4 goes to 11. That's a master number. A master illuminator, darling dears. As well as a master healer. You are meant to share your journey in one way, shape or form. Remember, I told you that. But you're guarding yourself from fools, darling dears. People that would manipulate a situation. Understanding how full your heart is, how loyal you are, and how focused, darling dears. They can't fool you again. They cannot. All right. Let's press on. Let's press on to the second card. The key to the hidden door. In the reverse, darling dears, we've got the Seven of Swords on its forehead. Good golly and gosh, darling dears. I know, bestie. I know. All right. This is about you thinking more clearly. This is the key, darling dears. This is clarity of mind. Okay. When we see the Seven of Swords in reverse, it tells me that you are in a position where you can address any challenges coming towards you, darling dears, from seen and unforeseen forces, darling dears. Okay. Somebody's also wants to test your ability to remain silent and not of a past situation that you was in. Somebody wants to test your ability, darling dears, but you're thinking much more clearly. Good golly and the gosh, darling dears, and the gosh. Right, Divine is reminding you that with the Seven of Swords in reverse, trust your gut, your instincts, darling dears, because you will always get clarity. It may not have been the easiest of ways, darling dears, but it's the most thorough. The Seven of Swords in the reverse is also a reminder of the damage that they caused in that situation. We've got two sevens on the tableau, darling dears. What was a joke to them was the death of you, darling dears. Or the death and the rebirth. We've got the judgment, the rise of you. Remember, I told you that. Okay, tell me something else. Whatever that situation, it's over for you, darling dears. It also speaks about travel, worldwide travel, long distance journeys. The energy of the world card is a year. So from today, you're going to be experiencing a lot more travel, foreign people, foreign lands. Because you've ended this particular cycle. Divine is gifting you with a fresh start. Okay. But you're ending this situation, right, with the key, which is the next card, the key to the shadow room, darling dears. This is a situation that you are no longer interested in going back to because of the abuse of the situation. They abused in every way, darling dears. Mentally, physically, emotionally, especially your mental, darling dears. Good golly and the gosh, that's why it's over. All of that sword energy and sword energy again. You are at peace, my child. You can rest. No more palpitations of your heart chakra. Remember, I told you that. Peace unto you. Yeah. Energy of the swords, darling dears. Libra, Aquarius, Gemini energy. A new level of intellect. When we see the swords energy and so many together, darling dears, it speaks about justice being delivered unto whom it needs to be delivered. I already said you're going to hear about the death of one of your enemies, darling dears. You've learned and acquired a new level of knowledge. You're able to overcome any challenge, darling dears, once you make it your own choice, your own decision. Okay? Yeah. And you have your ancestral team at your back. You're balancing out your finances, your money. You have a foot in both worlds, darling dears. They didn't understand your ranking. Well, that's their business. They're getting it without the Vaseline now, darling dears. Remember, I told you that. Two major arcana. You was most definitely guided to this situation. Okay, let's press on. Let's press on. The next card. Good golly and gosh. The shadows in the room, darling dears. The shadows, you've got the happiest card in the deck, darling dears. The sun card. This is vitality. This is traveling. You may even be going on a trip. It speaks about marriage. All things good for you, darling dears. All things coming to you. Why? Because you've got the clarity. You realize what you had to let go to in order to be in this position now. Because you understood, right, the veil of protection. You utilized that energy. You received this new level of clarity, darling dears. Yes. And now we have the sun energy, right, in your shadow room. Okay. Tell me something more about the shadow room, darling dears, because it's the happiest card in the deck. Love it. I don't hate it. Fell right into my lap. What's this? An 1111 fade, darling dears. This speaks about marriage. Somebody's also going to be invited on a date. Good golly and the gosh. It's all happening here, darling dears. Stable situations coming towards you. When we see an 11-11 fate, this is blessing upon blessing upon blessing. Your shadow room is full of enlightenment, darling dears, because you understood the assignment. This is you at the ending of the day, right, darling dears, when divine is going to use us, we can't say no, we're not going to be picked. You have to go when divine calls you, and divine has called you to go through all of these challenges and obstacles to get to your sun card, darling dears, and the 11-11 fade. Yeah. Because I've been saying, and I will continue to say, when you are called, darling dears, you can't tell the Most High no. It's all part of your soul journey, your soul purpose, your soul desire, okay? Because remember, Noah, right, when he was called, he was a drunk, right? Abraham was old, proper old blood. Moses was a murderer, and he couldn't tell no one, right? Who else was there? Jacob, a full-on liar, a skin-peeling liar, right? Job was bankrupt, right? And Lazarus, when he was called, he had to come back from the dead blood. So you have to understand, never think that you are any small fry on this Malkuth, darling dears. You have purpose. And it doesn't matter when the other shoe dropped, darling dears. The point of the fact that it did, what you overcame, darling dears. Your shadow room is full of enlightenment. Happy days going forward. This 11-11 fade, darling dears. Dates, romance. Financial independence. Okay? Because the sun card also represents your heart. This is a healing of your heart chakra, darling dears. Because Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart, for from your heart runs the wells of life, darling dears. You've learned to guard your heart from the wicked, right? These time-traveling ear hustlers that will come for one more round, Julie, if you allow it. Don't allow it, darling dears. Don't. Let me turn this light around so we can see a bit better. Yeah. It's outrageous. Outrageous, darling dears. Tell me something more. Dare we put another card on this 11-11 fade? We've got the King of Wands. Your futuristic thinking, darling dears. Again, you're looking back into the past, but you're realizing that you show determination, darling dears, tenacity. This is building slowly, darling dears, working on your health, your finances. Some of you have achieved financial independence, darling dears. You don't owe no one nothing. Do you know how much peace that brings to a big cat on this Malkuth? Your blessings are on their way. Your shadow room is full of enlightenment, darling dears. Okay. Right, let's press on. Let's press on. The final card? No, the wicked. They're coming through, darling dears. Queen of Wands energy, lots of gossiping, darling dears. And they're not above the spell work to try and trap you in situations. If you need help with that, hit me up in the Gmail, darling dears. Remember, I told you that. Yeah. But it's about you washing your face from a situation like David, utilizing the energy of the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Wands. You're the baddest on the field. Remember, I told you that. You're like a shield maiden. Listen, you'll get rid of 100 people, then ride the boat back to where you come from, and then make dinner for the children. All like, listen, you're the baddest of them all, darling dears. You had to wash your face like David. Yes, they're still talking about you, darling dears. Look. Major ones, they will always talk about you because you're the one that got away. Not just in a relationship, you got out of the dysfunctional cycles. Good golly and the gosh. You deserve this golden reward, whatever it may be. But I will end this reading here. I'm going to go over to the Patreon to finish up this read so we can see what the golden reward holds for you, darling dears. All of this happiness around you, They're under judgment with their chronic illnesses. That's their business, and somebody's lost their whole life on this Malkuth, so they never got to complete their purpose. That's their business as well. On that note, I drops me mic. Come with me over to the Patreon for part 2. Toddle over to my Teesprings if you want to pick up some of the merch, darling dears. If you'd like a chart or a tarot reading, hit me up in the Gmail. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. Big cat wave. Until we meet again on these tarot screens. Cat, cat. Cat, cat. Join me for part 2.